Well, greetings everybody. So this is like part 5. So I've been doing this all week of just trying to explain a little bit about why I did not like The Last Jedi, and I've made an executive decision. I feel like after this video I've hit the major points, and so I want to do one more video, probably tomorrow, about what I really liked, and also basically some solutions to this going into episode 9. Obviously not expecting JJ to take my advice in any way, shape, or form, but I had a lot of fun doing that 2 years ago with when The Force Awakens came out, and I feel like in general that's something that we as Star Wars fans like to do, is speculate, and I don't see that at all as a bad thing. So we're going to do that probably tomorrow. But today I want to hit on the one of the biggest points that I was just really disappointed in, and that is the characters. I'm specifically talking about the new characters. Now, let's hit up the old characters. Now, the really old characters, not referring to their age, but the fact that they have existed since the original trilogy, not this new trilogy. Luke started off weak, but I really liked it where it went after that point. Leia's role, I wasn't impressed with. Mary Poppins Leia, I didn't enjoy it. It was definitely one of those moments that was really rocking the secondary belief of the whole thing. The fact that that she didn't really play much of a role except to endorse the incompetent admiral who got people killed. We'll get to that. Chewie wasn't in it all that much. When he was in it, that was great. I don't mind that he wasn't in it a lot. This, we've passed the torch. It's fine to not have the original 3 in it all that much. I'm okay with that. In fact, I think 3PO was actually in it too much. I feel like every once in a while they remembered that 3PO was there and needed to jump in the scene randomly, and it's like, it didn't even click that he was in the room. But all that was fine. The not so old characters, meaning from episode 7. Mostly good. Look, Rey and Kylo's development was fantastic. It was the best part of the movie by far. In fact, it was the only part of the movie I really liked. BB-8 was really fun in it. I thought it was a little overboard, that the droid can run massive Imperial machinery. Doesn't seem right, but I don't know. Just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean that it's not so. And so, okay, sure, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Vin was fine, but his story was bad, and so that was frustrating. Poe was fine also, but his story was bad. And Poe's whole role in this movie was just to get mad at higher ups and kind of constantly be in a panic, and there wasn't any development there, and so there wasn't anything necessarily wrong with it, but there wasn't anything right with it either. So that brings us to the new characters, and this is where the real problem is. All the new characters, with the exception of Benicio del Toro, were not just not good; they were really seriously bad. So we'll go from least irritating to most irritating. Benicio del Toro's character DJ was fantastic. I loved him. And by the way, ever since I played Knights of the Old Republic, I've always wanted to know what we were doing when we were slicing. And so to see that on screen was very cool. I really liked his character. Now, I did think it was a little unrealistic that not unrealistic that the First Order would make a deal with him, but that the First Order would let him go. If there's a hacker out there that can get through your shields and all your defenses and mess with your computers, you don't just let him walk out the door. You either kill him or you hire him, especially if you're the bad guy. So, okay, whatever. That was fine, but his character was A1, and I will jump ahead into what I think they can do with him, because this is where I think they can bring in Lando in a really cool way and also wrap up Benicio del Toro's role. Is have DJ at some gambling table, perhaps even on Cloud City, and have him just kind of sitting there, and a hand lands on his shoulder, and the camera pans out, and it's Lando, and he says something about, it's like, I have some friends who want to speak with you. JJ, that one's for free. You can have it. Next of the new characters, Snoke. But Paul, Snoke isn't a new character. Clearly that Snoke was a brand new character. He has a passing similarity in appearance as the Snoke we all know and love from Episode 7, but there's nothing else that lined up. I mean, this was just a completely different person. And, somebody who, wore a golden suit, and I just didn't. He wasn't overly irritated, and I really think this was a case of, like in Harry Potter, when you build up an enemy so much in one of the movies, or in Harry Potter's case, over several movies, and then you put them on screen and you don't do an outstanding job with it, and so it's like Voldemort in the first 5 movies was much scarier than Voldemort in the last battle. And it's kind of the same thing with Snoke. It's like, we've built him up so well. JJ, just blew him out of the water. It was great. But, made everybody start talking about this guy. And then he shows up, and he's like Hugh Hefner. And it was a disappointment. And he wasn't much of a bad guy. He's clearly powerful, but he didn't have that, that kind of dark creepiness that the Emperor had, a little more irritating, actually a lot more irritating. Now we're crossing over over the irritating line into these characters seriously are terrible. Holdo, wow. I talked about her a little bit in military incompetence, but just what an incompetent, worthless character. And let me tell you, a lot of people have complained that she's not telling her plan, and that's really irritating to them. That bothered me too, but I'm gonna give her a pass because of Sam Houston. Now follow me here, okay? Because I'm a huge Texas Revolution buff, and Sam Houston did the same thing. Now, I thought I thought that was a mistake too. But when he was hightailing it across Texas, drawing Santa Anna's forces farther east to stretch their supply lines, to really wear out their army, he didn't tell anybody what was going on. In fact, we only are confident that he was not running away because he wrote a letter to somebody saying what his plan actually was. He wasn't, but people were accusing him of running away, just like this happened. Now, and so it's like, out of love for Sam Houston, I'm gonna kind of give her a pass on that, but she wasn't doing what's. There wasn't that sort of need to not tell everybody, because we're really only a day away. For Sam Houston, it was a long trek, but you're only a day away from doing this, and then when your people start getting shot down, to just stand there with a deer in a headlights look. I mean, look, well, you or I might have that same look, but we're not admirals, okay? That sort of panic reaction should have been worked out of you several promotions ago. And so it just brimming with incompetence, riling up everyone to be against you, not showing any confidence in your men or your crew. And in this moment of urgency, becoming a dividing point is not. I don't believe those are signs of a good leader, and I would wholeheartedly be okay with saying, well, she's just a terrible admiral, if that had been established in the movie. If she kind of took over and you see some people going, oh, this isn't going to be good, that would be interesting. That would have explained a lot, but they didn't. They really built her up that she's just really great, and this is going to be good. And Leia wakes up and is like, yeah, this lady is awesome. We need to follow her. And so I didn't dig it. Last one. All-time high of the irritating, scale. Rose. I was irritated with her even when they were on the planet, and she was talking about how it was worth it that all of her friends and colleagues have died in this space battle. She failed to complete her mission. All of the slaves are still enslaved, and she's about to die because she let a space horse free. There is no way that they should have allowed her in the Resistance. And we didn't even see her being that good of an engineer. There wasn't even a moment where she proved herself, right? And so that was really frustrating. And she took scenes that were not very good and made them worse. So the scene was why do you hate this planet so much? Take a closer look, and he's looking around and he sees some kids being very mistreated, and which is not good. I don't approve of that. And then she starts explaining, that hey, these are all arms dealers and stuff, and it's okay, I'm kind of getting that, and then this whole thing about how she wants to punch the city in the face. She didn't say exactly that. I'm paraphrasing heavily, It's just that scene wasn't very good. She just kept ratcheting it up. That I'm going to be more and more irritating. And then at the very end, it what I fondly described as, if you love something, smash into it with a ship and try to kill it scene. No, I saved you. Seriously. She's so bad. I'm kind of wondering if Rian Johnson didn't intend for us to realize that she's an imbecile. Was that the intent, that we were supposed to realize much earlier in the movie that she's one taco short of a combo plate, and so that she's very likely to just ram her ship into someone at any given moment? I'm really starting to wonder that if that's what was going on there, because good night. It's yeah, I know you don't want Finn to die, but to actually almost kill him and yourself to get a kiss seems a bit much, especially in the middle of a battle where Finn was about to save everyone. So, yeah, and I think most people agree that the casino scene was that whole plot was the worst of the movie, and she made it 100 times worse. Not that it would have been good without her, but it just it would have been much better. And so kind of what I'm hoping is like when people on the internet, the magical people that fix things for us, not me, get this and edit it. I think with some just clipping of her lines by themselves, this movie becomes a better film. And that's something's really sad to say that your character is that irritating. And so, thank you again for joining me. Look, there's one more left tomorrow, and we're going to focus on the good, because there is some good stuff in this movie. Just because I don't like the movie doesn't mean it's like Episode 2. Episode 2 is not a good film. It's a bad film. But the Obi-Wan plot in it is fantastic. And like that, there's some fantastic stuff in this movie. And I think some stuff that we can salvage. Now, I do also think J.J. Abrams has a big job ahead of him, because Rian Johnson didn't leave him with much. Rian Johnson didn't take the plots that were started in Episode 7, and he did not carry them forward like someone writing part 2 of a trilogy should do. And so I like yesterday's analogy of, the two people who are trying to write a story together by doing one line at a time, and they can't even agree on the genre. And so they just keep writing different stories. I think that's a very apt one. And so JJ's got a big task ahead of him, but I think it's workable. I think it's salvageable. And I'm interested to see what he's going to do with it. And so, join me tomorrow for the finale. And thank you so much for joining me so far. Take care.